So I just want to talk about drawing some of the simple shapes in Illustrator in this tutorial. So the first thing is your simple shape tool is right here. Usually you're going to see the rectangle tool as the default. So if I click on that, it's going to allow me to draw a rectangle. If I click and hold down, you're going to see the other options that you can draw. You can draw a rounded rectangle, an ellipse, a polygon tool, and then there's the star tool and the flare tool. So you can choose any one of these from here. I just want to talk about just drawing the rectangle first, because then you can apply it to the other shapes as well. So if I draw a rectangle, you'll see when I click that whatever direction I drag, that's the direction it's actually going to be drawing the shape that you've gone. But the starting point is always going to be the one corner. If you want to draw the shape from the center, so if I click here, and as I start to draw, if you hold the Alt key, it's actually going to be drawing from the center. So right where you clicked, that becomes the center point, and then you can draw like that, and it will draw from the center. If you want to take this shape, because it is a rectangle tool, and you want to make it into a perfect square, then all you need to do is simply hold the Shift button, and it will always stay in the proportions of a square. As you can see, I can do the same thing. I can click here, hold the Shift key to make sure it's a square, and then hold the Alt key, and that will actually draw from the center of the square. Now the same thing applies to the other shapes. I'm going to go right to the ellipse. Rather than clicking and holding down to find the ellipse tool, I know that the shortcut is the L key, so I just simply hit the L key on my keyboard, and then that's the ellipse. And it draws the same way, just like the rectangle. We can simply draw shapes. If I want it to be a perfect circle, then I simply hold the Shift button, and I draw as I'm holding the Shift button. That's always going to make it into a perfect circle. Same thing with a rectangle. You can draw from the center. So if I click and hold the Alt key and then draw from the center, then it will resize according to where I clicked first. And again, if I hold Shift at the same time, then I can it'll maintain its perfect proportions of a circle. Now at the same time, it might be a little bit hard. You can do another thing where you can actually hold the space bar. And if you're holding the space bar, that allows you to move the object around as you're drawing it. If I let go of the space bar, it will continue to draw. If I hold the space bar, it won't draw anymore. It just simply allows me to move. I'm just going to select these all and just delete them. You choose my V key, I'm going to select these all and delete, and I'll just talk about the other shapes that we have and some of the things that you can do with them. So if I click and hold and I scroll down to rounded rectangle, I can draw a rounded rectangle. You see that it's got round corners. Now as I draw them, if I hit the up and down arrow keys, so right now I'm hitting the up arrow key, so that means it's more of a rounded corner. And if I hit the down arrow key, then that's going to make it a little bit more of a square corners. And again, all I'm doing is just simply holding the down arrow key, and you'll see that slowly it's actually becoming a little bit more square as we go. The other tool over here is the polygon tool. What you can do with the polygon tool is as you draw, same thing applies. If I hold the space bar, it will tend to draw, and I can drag it around, but it will actually stop drawing. If I hold the Shift key, that's going to just make sure that it kind of stays straight up and down. And one of the things that you can do with the polygon tool is you can add sides, and you add sides simply by going up and down arrow. So there's the up arrow, that's going to add more sides, and then the down arrow is going to take some of those away, and you can go right down to an actual triangle. You can take that shape. There's holding the Shift button. You'll see that it kind of straightens itself out by holding the Shift. Anytime I hold the Shift, it's going to snap back so that it's a 90-degree angle. So that is a polygon tool. Over here as well is the star tool. The star tool, there's a few things that you can do with that. So if I start to draw the star tool, you'll actually see that I've actually got multiple sides to this star right now because of something I had drawn before. So all I need to do is simply go back, and I'm going to bring using the arrow buttons to go back to 5 stars. And then on your PC, what you can do is that you can hold the control button, and when you hold the control button, it's going to allow you to change how the star is drawn, and it will maintain that when you draw every other star. So by holding the control key as you draw, that allows you to play with the radius of the star. So there's 2 radiuses, one at the very tips of the stars and one on the inside of the star. And you can adjust those as you're holding the control button. And I can actually flip this star inside out simply by holding the control button as I draw. Again, if I want to add another couple spikes to that, I can simply go up arrow and down arrow. And again, I can still move it around by holding the space bar. And shift is going to snap it so that it's going to be up and down. There's one other tool here, and I'm not going to get into it, but that is the flare tool. Feel free to kind of fool around with that one. It's kind of neat, kind of has some pretty cool effects. And that is drawing with simple shapes.